Bernanke yesterday revealed what I've been talking about now for months, quite frankly for years. This is an end of the road cycle, if you will, and that's why he'll never be able to stop the quantitative easing. So CNBC, who has been caught on record lying and pumping up companies that the people pumping them up that work for CNBC get paid from the companies, okay? That's on record, look it up yourself. You know, they were talking about how Bernanke's going to taper and that, you know, it's all about a recovering economy, everything's wonderful and great. But that's clearly not the case. If the economy was recovering, why would Bernanke have to continue to monetize the debt and print over $85 billion a month to buy mortgage-backed securities and to buy basically US bonds? Well, you know, if you don't know how this works, just quick Reader's Digest version of it is that, you know, the US government runs deficits of around 10% to GDP. The way they pay for those deficits is by selling treasury bonds. But what's the problem with that? Well, not enough demand for the treasury bond. In spite of China, Japan, the Saudis, all these countries that buy, they need somebody else to buy. So who is that somebody else? Well, that somebody else is the Federal Reserve. Even after, forget about the fact Ben Bernanke on record said before Congress in the Congressional Committee that he would not monetize the debt. In fact, he swore under oath he wouldn't monetize the debt, but I guess no one cares about that one because if it was you or I, we'd likely be in jail for lying under oath and for perjury. But not if you're Ben Bernanke. He gets to basically say things like there's never been a housing collapse before, so it's okay. That, you know, he won't do quantitative easing, or that just a few months ago the economy's getting better, he's going to start tapering. He's been wrong on every front always. So why is he still credible is really beyond me. I don't understand it unless there's a media that's somehow kind of involved in lying and just making stuff up to the American people, but that couldn't possibly be the case. But the truth is that Bernanke will have to continue to print money and print more money and create more money to fuel the deficits of 10% for the US government, also to try to have any hope of an economic recovery, but also to stimulate what is the pump and dump that I've talked about now for about 8 months. And I've said all along, I said 8 months ago, look, it's going to be 12 to 24 months, could be even 48 months before there is a huge leg down collapse in an economy. By collapse, I don't mean running around in loincloths, you know, cooking meat over fire. I'm talking about probably like it was in 2008, only much greater, and it probably centering around some kind of reset of the US dollar as the world reserve currency. So immediately you would have prices in the US rise dramatically, and most of the middle class, definitely the poor, would suffer the most. A rich, wealthy elite, or even, you know, higher end middle class, may not be as bad, they can survive, they can do well. That's why I tell people, become an entrepreneur while you have time. There is still time, because unless there's some kind of black swan event that ends everything badly, things will end badly either way for most people. And remember, that's their economy. Your own personal economy doesn't need to be like that, but you have to be real, you have to be guided by common sense. Most of the time the common sense just comes from you. You know, if you open up a history book, you know how this ends. You know Bernanke's a liar. You know Obama and the Republicans and Democrats are liars. And neither party is doing anything to structurally fix the economy, or for that matter, restore the free market economy that built this country and that's created the greatest standard of living for Americans in the history of time. I mean, this is a generation that is the most spoiled generation ever, 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 ever. So, bottom line is, Bernanke will have to continue to monetize the debt because there's not enough demand for the US bonds, and they're spending recklessly to try to fuel an economy, and the politicians don't want the economy to collapse. They don't want to have to go through a Great Depression for 5 years to fix the economy, so they just say, hey, keep going on, keep doing it. And it's interesting that the stock market and people that are supposed to be like business people cheerlead the quantitative easing. They're like, yeah, keep doing it, we need to do it, hoping something magically is going to happen. But I ask you this, if the Fed has taken its balance sheet from $800 billion in 2008, 2009 to close to $4 trillion in just a matter of 3 years, and that hasn't stimulated the economy, well, what are they going to do next? I'll tell you what they're going to do next. They're going to remove lending restrictions and change lending guidelines. So then basically anyone who fogs up a mirror or has a pulse can get a loan, so that all the big institutionals, all the hedge funds can then dump the properties that they're buying by the billions to the unsuspecting person who said, hey, I just qualified for a $100,000 loan. I'm going to go buy a home. It's cheaper than I can rent. Yes, for a short period of time it will be. That's the story of how markets work. And I hope that you're taking note. I'm Fabian for Liberty. Thanks for watching. I'm out.